Okay, here are what we need for part 2. We need some acrylic paint. Simple acrylic paint from your craft store is all you need. I would highly recommend gold or silver, but gold is my go-to for this. You will need a ball tip stylus or an embosser. My paper people will have these for embossing and Papercraft, and my clay people will have them as well because we use them in polymer clay. You probably just want one with a very fine tip and one with a bigger tip, or a couple choices. We will need Mod Podge and a brush. Now, anybody who's taken my class knows I always go for matte. However, in this particular case of making an ornament, I'm going from my matte into a high luster. This is the high luster. And you can get them for $1 at the Dollar Tree, or you can get them at your craft store and Target for $1 in this size. You will need some sandpaper, just a little bit, or an emery board. And the things that are optional are gilding wax, which comes in tubs like this. And it's really a rub-on type of a metallic finish. A lot of my paper crafters will already have this. This is my silver. They last forever, and I love using them in clay. So I use them in both of my artistic hobbies. So they are definitely something we'll use today. But if you don't have it, you can just use your gold paint. And then pretty napkins. We're talking about looking at pretty holiday napkins, and you're going to wonder why we are going to be using these, but just you wait. Lots of fun stuff. My paper people may have been out of their comfort zone for part 1 when we made these. And my polymer people might have been like, sure, I can do this easy. Well, now my polymer people may be a little out of their comfort zone, and my paper people, I'm coming into your wheelhouse now. And then, of course, we'll need some ribbon to hang our ornaments on. And last but not least, I need to take a moment to talk about my friend Sharon, who designed this pack for us for free, and tell you about her paper download kit called Bounty, Christmas Bounty. Now, if you're a paper crafter, you know all about digitals. If you're not, if you're a polymer person, you might still really be interested in this. This pack that she's designed is so that you can make your own journal, tags, all sorts of things out of paper. She's done all the designing for us, and what a beautiful, beautiful kit this is. Now, I have printed this page 3 different sizes because I'm going to be working with these today. Again, totally optional. Look at all these gorgeous papers that she's designed, and I just printed them out on my printer. I just adore that one. She has all sorts of elements. Look at it. But this is the page that I think is great because it's going to go terrific if we're making our tags, our ornaments into tags. So I printed them at 3 different sizes. And that is an optional purchase, and I will put that link below if you want to do that. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. You don't need it to complete this course. However, I would encourage you just to take a look at this kit she has online. It is scrumptious in every way. And yes, you can use some of these other images as image transfer. So, having said that, let's get started with the fun stuff. Okay, I put on my overhead light, even though I didn't want to, because the light is just going as we speak. All right, so I've chosen some of the ornaments that we made today, and I want to go over some of the fun things that we can do to make our projects even nicer. So I'm going to start first with this cardinal, okay? I'm going to start by getting a paper plate, and I'm going to squirt some acrylic paint onto the plate. Now, when I say you don't need a lot, I mean you really don't need a lot for this project. I'm going to do black and red, and I'm going to do that gold. Now, you could choose to do some additional colors if you choose, but these are the 3 colors I am going to work with. Then I am going to get my stylus. Now, let's look up close at this guy. He is got great definition, and I really like everything about this, but I did not put a hole in this on purpose because I'm going to make it into a book plate. So I know right away that I want to gild the edges, and I want to make some of his details pop, and I want to maybe add a little bit to the white areas. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go around with my sandpaper. Please excuse the sound. I'll try to do it a little bit more off camera so that you don't have to listen. And by doing that, you have a nice crisp edge. Now, we'll do the edges last. So what we want to do, and I will zoom in a little bit. Okay, I wish the lighting was better. I really wish the lighting was better. Okay, the lighting is horrible, but we're going to do the best we can. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our red paint, and we're going to take the stylus, and we're going to make little dots for the berries. And this is going to help accent that image on our cardinal. I believe there's a couple berries here. And I think what I want to do too is just kind of put a little bit of red on his head and maybe a little bit on his belly. And just by putting it in and moving your stylus, you get the ability to move a little of that paint around. Let's see if I can show you up close. Come on, focus. I know the lighting is a little off, but you can see that there. So then I want to wipe that off. Okay, I just picked everything up and moved it to my studio upstairs because the light was so bad upstairs. I thought, well, I can at least use my work light. And in that particular case, it is what it is. But at least it's better than the shadowing I was getting downstairs. So we just added the red, and I'm going to add a little bit of black to where the black parts are on his beak, and maybe to his eye, and then I'm going to come in with the gold. This is my favorite part. And I'm just making little accents with the gold. I can make the little accents on the leaves. I can make it on the greenery. I can make it pretty much anywhere I want. This is where sort of the creative handmade part really takes off, because you can really just add whatever it is that makes you, that you feel with this little cardinal. So I'm going to do that. Now, depending on what Sculpey you used, is how white your background is. When you buy it in bulk, I find, and I mentioned this in the earlier video, that I don't think it looks, it's not white, true white. It's more like an off-white. So in that case, what I think I'd like to do, oops, and see, you're not quite getting, because of the light, where I'm putting things, but you're going to soon. I'm going to now take some white paint and I'm going to make dots like it's snowing out. And this is where a lot of the imperfections on the background really start disappearing. And I find this part just extremely fun and calming. Makes me feel. So right in here, it looks like it's snowing. So we're going to let that sit for a minute, and we're going to move on to another one, just so that we're kind of in the process. I'm going to actually change it out with this one, because this is our ornament one. So we're going to go back and get some of that sandpaper, and we're going to sand this lip right here, right off, so that it can be nice and flat for when we paint the edge or gild the edge. And it's not, it doesn't take a lot to sand this, because polymer sands very well. So now it's all smoothed up. And what I really want to do on mine is I want to make this like it's snowing. And I also want to put in on gold little like twinkle lights. So what I'm going to do is take the big ball end. Hopefully this is focusing. I'm going to take the big ball end and I'm going to paint just by tapping and kind of moving the paint around so it looks like snow is on the bottom part of this ornament. Can you see that? Then I'm going to do the same thing I did before, and I'm going to put snowflakes all over the back. Now there was a little bit of smudging on this tree right around here. So by putting in some of these snowflakes, it really makes that go away. Now we all know in real life when it's snowing, it doesn't just snow on the side of things, it snows in the front too. So it is important that we do put some snowflakes in front of the tree too, since it snows everywhere. And, you know, maybe that's all you want to do. Maybe you want to make it a snowy scene. Maybe you've downloaded this and Christmas is not your holiday. Maybe you're a different religion, but you like winter. These can certainly be adapted. And actually, I really do like that just as like a simple winter scene. Let's see if we can do that. I really actually like that a lot as just a simple winter scene. Now, you may want to see it the other way. So let's try this, which is going to be a book plate for a Christmas journal. So it would be completely appropriate to make this into like a Christmas tree. So I will put the snow on the bottom. I really like working with polymer clay, but I find this project to be the same way I feel about sugar cookies. Making the ornaments and doing the image transfer is a means to the end getting me to the place that I love the most, which is the decorating. How do you guys feel? Did you ever enjoy making the Christmas cookies and the decorating? Because I never was one for really making the Christmas cookie dough. I wanted to get right to the decorating. So maybe that's the difference between bakers and not bakers. I'm not a baker, so maybe I just don't enjoy that process. Polymer clay I always like working with because I find it very cathartic to work with my hands, but this part still is my favorite. So I'm going to go very light on the snow because on this one I want to put on little gold lights. So I'm going to go into my gold clay and my gold paint. Sorry, I have clay on the brain. I think I'm going to use the other side of the stylus and make those a little bit bigger. And I'm just going to come in and put lights all over the tree. And I think I want to put one gold dot right at the top. And I'm going to put a little bit of gold here and there on my frame as well. And this is especially great if, like right here, you have an area that maybe didn't transfer 100%. You can kind of fill it in and it's not really going to show because it's going to look like it's just highlight. Okay, so now I have 3 decorated and I'm going to move on. Let's move on to the partridge, which I really like. It seems very dark here, but we're going to lighten it up with some gold highlights. I'm going to put some gold in that top feather. Now, usually when I work really close to my face so I can see the details. I'm extremely nearsighted, but because I'm filming, that's a little bit harder for me right now. So I'm just going to put in some highlights best I can. I'm going to move it close to me off camera for a second just because I can't do this on camera. And I'm going to put some dots in his belly where all of those feather details are. I think this will really bring out that area. I'm sorry you can't see it, but I'm literally working like an inch from my face. When I'm doing really close work, I was born with very bad eyes, and I have to do things a little bit differently to accommodate issues I have with my myopia. But I get it done. I just can't get it done on camera. All right, so I'm putting in dots, little tiny dots, all in the undercarriage and the neck, just to sort of highlight that more. And I've put some gold up on this top feather, which I think I'm going to come in and just do a little bit more on. I don't know if you can see that. Now I'm also going to go in and I'm going to put some red on the berries, which I think I can do without being close. Hopefully I'm on camera. You know, I love making something homemade for my tree or for my house every year, so that every year when I unpack, I go, oh, that's right, I made that last year. Now, I don't think I want snow, but what I think I do want is I think I do want some gold dots in the background. And I do this just because there's so much white space. I think it just makes it look a little bit fancier and more festive. And when I come back in with that gilding wax, which you'll see, I think it's really going to tie it in together. But this is where you can really go creative and make it your own. Okay. So now I'm going to come back into our original cardinal, and I'm going to come in with the gilding wax and show you a little bit about what that is. So here's the gilding wax. When it's fresh, it is very pliable and soft, but mine is several years old now, so I have to take a little bit of water to rehydrate it. And see how it shows on my finger. I can just come in and rub that right on the edge. And I might have to get a little bit of water. And what this does is it really just finishes the edge. We like a finished piece, or I like a finished piece, and I like it. I like that gold edge. I think it polishes it and makes it look more professional, more finished. Again, you can do this with your gold acrylic paint. You don't need gilder's wax. Gilding wax only costs about $10 for a pot, and you can get it with coupons. Now I'm going to come in the front and rub a little bit of gold around the edge, because I think I really like that. Because I didn't put a hole on this, and the lighting is so bad today, and it's a sunny day, it's just there's just not enough light from the right direction, then I will take this outside after these are done so you can see the true color, because I just don't think this is really doing it justice, the lighting the way I have it, but it, you know, it is what it is. So now that I've come in with the gilding wax, and if you feel like you've overdone it, you can always just take a little bit of alcohol and clean up what you don't like. You can take a little bit out. The polymer is already baked, so it's not going to hurt anything going in with a little bit of alcohol and just cleaning up any paint or gilding wax you don't like. So that's how I'm finishing that one for now. Now for this one, I think what I want to do is I want to come in with the gilding wax, and I want to connect it to the frame, almost blend it into the frame. I think it's going to have a really neat effect when it's done. Again, you could do this with paint. You don't need the wax. I find the wax easier because I prefer to work with my fingers. I think it's easier than trying to paint with a paintbrush on the edge, but it's totally doable the other way. Now, again, the lighting's a little bit funky. We're going to show how nice these look in the natural light. This is so clean, I don't even want to mess it up. So the only thing I am going to do with this one is just paint the edges. That's the only thing I want to do on this one, is get a nice gold edge. I don't want to come over the edge with this. I think that it came out really good. And I really don't want to do anything but just the edges. Okay, so the last one I'm going to do on camera is the partridge, and the same thing, I'm going to come in with the gilding wax on the edge. Okay, I'm going to zoom out so that we can get a bit bigger picture, and I will finish the rest of them off camera only because of time, because I want to concentrate on finishing these. We have 2 ornaments and 2 book plates here. So now what we want to do, we want to grab a nice soft brush. Preferably, I like the ones with the angles that are a little bit flat. And then I'm going to come in with my gloss Mod Podge. And I'm going to coat the top. So let me get the frame so that I can do it on camera set up. And then I want to talk about something very important when it comes to clay and finishing it. When we're doing the Mod Podge, we're just going to take a very thin, now see, I make mistakes, and when that happens, I'm bummed, but then I'm not bummed because I think it's important to show you the paint was not dry, so I smudged it. Again, like I always say, never worry. You can always fix everything. I'm just going to come in with a little bit of alcohol and clean that up. Again, because the polymer clay is dry, you can, it's probably better with a Q-tip, it's more accurate. You can come in and clean up just the part that got the mistake on it. Because it's dry, it should come off. And it does. And the only thing you have to do is go back in and fix the paint you just messed up. And then make sure it's actually really dry. When you're teaching a class, sometimes you rush a step because the light's going or you're trying to get through it. So we're going to put them aside. Let's make sure these are actually dry. I believe they are. So we're going to start again with this one instead. And you're just going to take a little bit. Now see, I have some pink in that Mod Podge. So I'm just going to pour some new one and not do that. And I'm just going to very lightly brush it across. And this is going to coat the top. It's going to seal in that acrylic paint. And it really is going to bring out the color and the details in the image transfer that you did. One of the biggest tips I can give you with polymer clay is what you should put on top of it to seal it. You do not have to seal polymer clay if it's just a polymer clay project, but if you paint polymer clay, it's important you seal it to protect that acrylic paint from scratching or washing off. But because polymer is not a man-made clay, is not a natural clay, but a man-made clay, and it is made with petroleum, you can have a chemical reaction if you use the wrong thing, and it will actually ruin your project. It will eat away. You never, ever, ever, let me repeat this, you never, ever, ever want to use clear nail polish to finish a polymer clay project. Now, maybe in the past, one of you have, and you're like, well, I did it and nothing happened. Well, it breaks down in time and it will ruin your project. They sell a actual finish for Sculpey in a little jar, which is not that expensive with a coupon. And if you're just doing a few projects here and there, completely perfect for getting for polymer clay. Or you can go and you can get, there's a few other things you can get. And if you're interested in that, if you do a lot of polymer clay, then reach out to me and I can get you those brands. But for somebody who doesn't do polymer clay a lot, there's no reason to invest in big jars of sealant if you're just doing something like this. You can just get the Sculpey sealer and that's all you need. So we have those three done and we're just waiting for this guy. Okay, now that we have our ornaments painted and a clear coat put on, I'm going to show you what we're going to do with these napkins. So we're going to take napkins, we're going to take a piece of washi tape or masking tape, something that has a low stick on it. You don't want something that's too sticky. And you're going to come in behind the napkin and you're going to push down and pull up quickly. That's going to help you get to that second layer of napkin. Now we're going to see if there's a third layer. And there is. See the difference in color there? That's what we want to get to. So you're going to take this napkin, which I love that it has gold and it's pears, which goes beautiful with this bounty set. And all I'm going to do is take a Q-tip and some water, and I'm going to make this piece smaller. I'm going to chase a line, and then I'm going to tear. Oops, it didn't tear on the line. Okay. And then I'm going to take our already drying piece, and I'm going to put Mod Podge all over the bottom of it, like this, because the back isn't that pretty. There could be some bubbles that popped. There could be some surface dirt. We're just trying to make this as polished as possible. We're going to press that down. Try to get all the bubbles out. And then we're going to paint on top of it with the Mod Podge, giving it a second coat and really adhering that layer of napkin to the back of our ornament. And then I'm going to stand it up to dry. This one at least, because I'm not 100% sure the front is complete. Now, I'm going to take this napkin again, and again, I'm going to make a line that I can rip down. Turn this over. Put some Mod Podge all over the back. Place the napkin on top. Then Mod Podge that whole backside. And then I'm going to let that dry. I'm not going to trim out the napkin yet. Oops, look it, I pushed too hard. You know, when we make videos, we could edit them out, do the step completely over, and you would never know. But I like it when mistakes or challenges happen, because that's what's really going to happen in real life. Sometimes things can go super easy, and sometimes they don't. And if I don't show you how to fix it, you're just going to get frustrated when it's your turn to do the project. Now, that probably happened because if you were not in a rush, you could have this part dry completely before you put on that second coat. But I'm teaching, and I don't want this video to be 200 hours long. So I am going to, what I'm going to do is show you that I'm fixing it, and I have to do it in a timely frame so that you can see how to do this without having to watch paint dry, literally. Okay, so now once this is all done, make sure your edges are completely painted so that you can see every edge. You're going to let this one dry. And then we're going to do this one. Actually, we don't have to do this one. This one's a book plate, and book plates do not need to be done because the back side is not going to be needed. So we got to do the partridge. So I'm going to go really gentle because I don't want the same thing to happen that happened on that last one, which is the napkin tearing because it's too wet. Again, if you let it dry for about 5 or 10 minutes first, you're not going to have that problem. But again, because I'm filming, I don't want to have to wait and keep turning and turning off the camera, and my light is getting worse and worse by the minute. So I'm just forging ahead and going to try to do it the best I can. Now, you can also at this time poke through the hole if you want to. You can do it after, but maybe because it's wet, it might finish off a little bit better. All right, we're going to move that one, let that dry. Let's poke that hole on this one too. This one's had a couple minutes to dry. So let's see how we do with tearing it off right on the edge. I wanted the glue to set at least for a couple minutes before I attempted to start tearing away at the side. If you get any messy edges like I just did there, just want to glue them back down and let it continue to dry. And I'll be back when these are dry. As we round out this video, I'm going to do the last step, which is adding words to the ornament. Now, the words come from the full kit, the kit that you need to purchase if you want the to and from tags and the words and all the rest of those gorgeous papers and images that you can craft with all through the holiday season. But basically what I did was I took the page that has the words and I printed it at 50% so that the words were small. I also printed the other sheet with the to and from on them. I cut them out. I'm going to ink them, and then I'm going to attach them with Mod Podge. I chose the words hope and peace because at the end of 2020, those are the two feelings that I most want to concentrate on. I have great hope and I wish and pray for peace. It's been a difficult year, but there still has been some gifts, and I still am extremely grateful for the bounty that I've received from my family, my friends, and from this journaling and craft community. We all need to support each other. A big thank you to Sharon for this wonderful freebie kit that she gave us that started us off with the ornaments. I hope you'll go to her store and consider purchasing the full kit, which has the words and the to and from and all the other bits and pieces in it. And I hope you'll consider supporting other artisans, small business owners, women-owned businesses this time of year. A lot of businesses are struggling, and it's not only a gift we give ourselves, but we give our community when we shop small and we shop with our artists. So, having said that, I'm going to add the last bit of Mod Podge, stick on the words, and then we will head on outside so that we can see what these really look like in natural light. And some natural light to show you what the detail and the color actually looks like on these ornaments. So much better than what I could show you on my work table because the lighting was just so bad in there. And I just think that these came out really interesting. And if you think about it, just a nice little homemade project that you can do on your own for very little money, very little things you have to buy, and creativity. This is just a jumping off point. I know my polymer clay people and my paper people are super creative, and I know that you will come up with something even better than I did. So I hope that you found value in this class, and happy holidays. Please go visit Sharon at Mad Paper Crush and download your free download. Check out her gorgeous kit that can be made into a gazillion other projects. And I hope you'll have a wonderful holiday. I am going to continue to work with this kit all month, and I hope you'll follow along with some of the new projects. I'm going to continue to work with some of the clay pieces we made and see if I can expand on some ideas there. And I'm just really going to try to enjoy this holiday season by counting my blessings and the bounty of things I have to be grateful for. So on behalf of Sharon at Mad Paper Crush and me, Michelle, at Tape and Twine and Creative Cottage, have a happy holidays. See you in the next video.